Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're embarking on a really unique journey. We're diving deep into a nation that sort of beautifully defies any simple definition. India. It's this land of ancient traditions that's also, rapidly embracing modern aspirations. And the sources we've gathered, they reveal so many fascinating paradoxes.
They really do.
So we're going to explore this incredible country through 4 critical lenses: economic, political, social, and environmental. Really try to understand its complex journey and the pivotal challenges it's navigating right now.
That's right. And the materials we've pulled together, they offer a pretty comprehensive, multidimensional look at India. I mean, we're talking about the world's most populous democracy, a nation with this incredibly rich cultural tapestry that's undergoing, well, just extremely rapid modernization.
Right.
So our mission in this deep dive is really to extract the most important insights, kind of the so what, from these sources and give you a powerful shortcut to being, truly well-informed about India today.
Okay, let's unpack India's economic story first because it's absolutely compelling. The sources really highlight its status as one of the fastest growing major economies in the world. And when you think about a country of this immense scale, I mean, that kind of consistent growth is just remarkable. But what exactly drives it? And what are the sort of deeper implications?
Well, what's crucial here, I think, is that this incredible growth isn't just about the raw numbers, although they are pretty impressive.
Sure.
India's GDP, for instance, it exceeded $3.7 trillion back in 2024, which places it firmly among the top 5 global economies.
Wow.
But beyond just that number, our sources suggest this growth is fundamentally reshaping, global supply chains and consumer markets.
How so?
Especially as India's massive middle class continues to expand. It's becoming a really significant driver of worldwide demand. And its economic landscape, it's this remarkable blend. You've got a strong agricultural base, a growing manufacturing sector, and an absolutely booming services sector.
Right, especially IT and digital services. The sources mention that specifically.
Exactly. That's a huge part of the story.
So why that explosion in IT and digital services? I mean, specifically, what did the sources attribute that to?
Well, the IT and digital services boom, it isn't just like organic growth. It's really the result of decades of strategic investment in engineering education. That, combined with a large English-speaking workforce, that mix has made India a global hub for software development, IT outsourcing.
Right.
It's attracted significant foreign direct investment.
Right.
Which, in turn just fuels more growth and innovation in that particular sector.
And beyond just the sheer size of its labor force and that growing middle class you mentioned, what else stands out as India's key economic strengths, according to these materials? I was quite interested in its entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, that's definitely a key finding in the materials, that entrepreneurial dynamism. India has emerged as a major hub for startups and technology.
Right.
It's fostering this really vibrant ecosystem of innovation. And that's attracting both domestic and international investment, creating new jobs, especially for its very youthful population.
But, of course, no economic story is all sunshine. What are the significant challenges that the sources bring to light here?
Yeah, despite the really remarkable progress, things like income inequality, unemployment, and inflation, they remain persistent concerns. And rural poverty, unfortunately, it still affects millions. Plus, access to quality infrastructure, it varies hugely across different regions. That creates these significant disparities between, say, the big urban centers and the rural areas. It's a constant balancing act.
And to tackle some of those deep-seated issues, the sources discuss the Indian government's ongoing economic reforms. They seem aimed squarely at boosting productivity and achieving self-reliance, especially now, post-pandemic. Can you tell us more about initiatives like Make in India or Digital India? How do they fit in?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how these initiatives are designed not just to stimulate overall growth, the big picture GDP number,
Right.
but also to address those underlying economic disparities and challenges we just touched on. Take Make in India, for instance. It's not just a slogan.
Okay.
Our sources point to a tangible shift. India actually transformed from being a net importer to an exporter of mobile phones in just a few years.
Really?
Yeah, creating millions of jobs and fostering this whole new manufacturing ecosystem. Similarly, Digital India aims to transform the country into a digitally empowered society.
Wow.
Well, by providing easier access to government services, improving financial inclusion, things like that. And then Startup India specifically focuses on fostering the nation's burgeoning entrepreneurial ecosystem, through policy support and funding initiatives.
Okay.
All tying back to that goal of national self-reliance and, crucially, inclusive growth.
Okay, so having explored India's economic engine, its strengths and its challenges, it feels crucial to understand the political machinery that kind of underpins it all.
Absolutely.
And this is where India's status as the world's largest democracy truly becomes fascinating.
Yeah.
The sources explain its federal structure, its parliamentary system. That's the backbone of its governance, right?
And this framework is absolutely foundational. The Indian Constitution, it upholds fundamental rights, secularism, and the rule of law. But what's particularly insightful from the sources is how this constitutional framework, while it's robust on paper, it's frequently tested by things like communal tensions and the really delicate balance of accommodating various religious laws within a unified legal system. Yeah. It's a continuous negotiation, really.
And you see the strengths of Indian democracy in action through things like regular elections. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine the sheer logistics involved?
Oh, it's staggering.
Holding elections for over 1 billion people. And then you have an independent judiciary and a very active civil society that often holds power to account, bringing diverse viewpoints into the public discourse.
Yet, it's certainly not without its struggles. The materials detail challenges like increasing political polarization, which often leads to policy gridlocks.
Right.
There are persistent regional tensions, widespread corruption, and, those bureaucratic delays that can often hinder effective governance. It's also noted that issues like communal violence and concerns about the misuse of power have raised questions, especially in recent years, about potential democratic backsliding in certain areas.
And then on the global stage, India plays an increasingly pivotal role, doesn't it? The sources highlight its active membership in powerful groups like the G20, BRICS, which, just for our listeners, is that association of major emerging economies, Brazil, Russia, China, South Africa, and now others too.
Right, it's expanded.
And of course, the United Nations. This all signals its rapidly growing influence in shaping regional and even global policies.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, India's internal political challenges, combined with its strong democratic framework, they really position it uniquely on the global stage.
How so?
Well, it's navigating these complex domestic issues, often under intense international scrutiny, while simultaneously asserting its influence as a major global player. This duality, this tension, makes its political journey particularly compelling to watch.
That's a lot to consider. This blend of progress and enduring challenges just in the political sphere alone.
Now let's turn our attention to the immense social diversity of India.
Okay.
Which presents both, opportunities and significant challenges in that whole endeavor. The sources paint this picture of over 1.4 billion people, comprising an incredible mosaic of religions, languages, ethnic groups. It really is a land of 1,000 cultures.
It truly is. And despite that staggering complexity, significant progress has indeed been made in areas like education, gender equality, and healthcare.
Okay.
The sources highlight specific social welfare programs that seem to be making a real difference on the ground. For example, the right to education, which guarantees free and compulsory education for children.
Then there's Ayushman Bharat. This aims to provide health insurance to over 500 million of India's most vulnerable citizens.
500 million.
Yeah, making it the world's largest government-funded health insurance scheme. Now, while sources say it has drastically reduced out-of-pocket health expenses for many.
That's huge.
It is huge. But they also point to challenges in reaching remote areas and ensuring, consistent quality of care across all the providers involved.
Okay.
And then there's Beti Bachao, which translates to save the daughter, educate the daughter.
So Beti Bachao is aimed specifically at addressing issues like female feticide and infanticide, right, alongside promoting girls' education.
Precisely. This program specifically targets the alarming decline in the child-sex ratio in some areas and promotes the education of girls. It's directly tackling these deeply entrenched gender biases that are highlighted in the sources. These initiatives, they genuinely contribute to social development, pushing for a more equitable society, even if progress is sometimes slow.
Yet, persistent social issues clearly remain. The sources note the ongoing challenges of caste-based discrimination, gender inequality, and those significant rural-urban disparities we touched on earlier.
Yes.
Access to quality healthcare and education, while improving, still remains uneven, particularly in marginalized communities.
Mm.
What stands out to you about these social dynamics, this blend of progress and really enduring challenges?
Well, what struck me most reading these sources is the sheer scale of the challenges. Like that persistent caste discrimination you mentioned, juxtaposed with these incredibly ambitious social welfare programs.
Right.
It's this constant tension progress measured not just in policies rolled out, but in actually overcoming centuries of ingrained inequality.
Yeah.
The materials, however, they consistently emphasize a positive outlook, too. India's vibrant culture, its deeply ingrained democratic values, and especially its youthful population that offers tremendous hope for continued inclusive social progress. It paints a picture of a nation perpetually in motion, grappling with vast internal complexities, while at the same time asserting its global identity.
And this rapid development and evolution, well, unfortunately, it comes with significant environmental costs. That's the next lens, particularly due to India's fast-paced industrial growth and urbanization.
That's a crucial point, and the sources really detail some critical environmental issues. We're talking about severe air pollution. Cities like Delhi often experience hazardous air quality levels.
I've seen those reports.
Yeah, they're among the worst globally. Then there's widespread water scarcity, rapid deforestation, and significant climate change impacts. For example, the Ganges River suffering from industrial pollution, and monsoon variability deeply affecting agriculture and livelihoods right across the subcontinent. It's a dire situation in many areas.
Despite these grave concerns, India is taking positive steps that the sources highlight. It's actually a global leader in renewable energy, particularly solar and wind power. How significant are these efforts, really?
Oh, they are very significant. The government has committed to achieving net zero emissions by 2070.
2070?
Which is a very ambitious target for a developing nation of its size and energy needs.
Yeah.
And initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, which India actually co-founded to promote solar energy globally.
Okay.
And Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, that's the Clean India mission, focusing on sanitation and waste management. These show real promise in promoting environmental sustainability and, frankly, public health, too.
What's also incredibly encouraging, I think, is the growing awareness the sources mention among citizens, and especially the youth, about the importance of conservation and eco-friendly practices. It feels like a movement building from the ground up, pushing for more accountability.
It does, and this raises a really important question. How does India navigate this delicate balance between the rapid economic development, which is absolutely essential for lifting people out of poverty,
Right.
and the equally essential environmental protection needed for long-term survival? What lessons might its approach, both the successes and the ongoing struggles offer the rest of the world as we all grapple with similar dilemmas of growth, equity, and sustainability?
So what does all this mean? Bringing it all together now, India's journey, it really is one of profound contrasts, isn't it? You have ancient traditions coexisting right alongside modern aspirations, huge achievements balanced against these persistent, deep-seated challenges. It's a story of a nation constantly in motion.
Exactly. Our sources describe it perfectly, I think. Economically dynamic, politically complex, socially diverse, and environmentally vulnerable.
Yeah.
India's future, as they suggest, fundamentally depends on its ability to foster inclusive growth, to embrace sustainable development, and to continually strengthen its democratic values. These things are all interconnected. Progress in one area often impacts the others, for better or worse.
Ultimately, with its youthful energy, its burgeoning economy, and its just undeniable strategic importance, India stands at a really critical crossroads. It has the opportunity to shape not only its own destiny, but also, arguably, to significantly influence the future of the entire world.
Yeah, and maybe a final thought for you to consider is how India's multifaceted approach to addressing its challenges, everything from these large-scale government reforms and ambitious national initiatives, down to the growing grassroots awareness and community-led projects. We talked about how that whole picture could serve as a powerful, maybe complex case study for other nations grappling with similar issues of growth, equity, sustainability in our rapidly changing world. It's a compelling, ongoing experiment in balancing progress with just profound complexities.